means that you will not be outstanding by mistake. You will not find somebody who is at the very top and got there by accident. They slept and woke up and then suddenly they were the number one artist, the number one painter, the number one CEO. It doesn't happen like that. Being distinct is about being deliberately outstanding. The second word I would like to speak to is the word digitization. Comfort has done a good job on that already, and all I'd like to add is the fact that this is just about technology empowering us to do what we have always done, but to do it faster, further, more efficiently, and more conveniently. So, when Springboard was 10 years old, we had a review, Springboard at 10, and said we were planning to reach 1 million people in the next 10 years. By that time, we had reached 150,000 live participants like you in 10 years. We said we wanted to reach 1 million. Now, after saying or making that declaration, we sat down to calculate what will it take to reach 1 million. How many events, averaging a little over 2,000 like this, must you hold to reach 1 million? How many years will it take if you held even one a week all year through? By the time we finished the analysis, we realized that it was physically impossible to do that in 10 years. Enter technology. Interestingly, this was just sparked by a comment at the launch by one of our great partners, Kofi Dazo, CEO of Rankard, who just made a comment about the fact that you want to reach 1 million, it can be done, but look at how technology can enable what you are already doing. So fast forward to 2018, last year, and Springboard gathered 10,000 people physically in one space or in 3 different events, including here in Cape Coast. But for the global convocation alone in Accra, virtual participants were 1 million and over. So in 1 year, you achieve what you hope to achieve in 10 years by the power of technology. Let's put our hands together for that one. Now, simply what we are saying is that technology is not magic. It only enables what you are already doing. If you are not doing it already, you can't benefit from it. So now we can do things faster, further, easier, more conveniently, and at less cost. And of course, it means also more profit if you are a profit-making venture. The third word with a D is deliberate. And that simply means that you must be intentional and you must be strategic. I have different definitions for the word intentional. But my focus today is simply on the fact that, like Gina rightly said, you may have deficits or challenges at the starting point of your life, but you want to be great. How many want to be great here? I want some people who have a feeling that they want to be great, a desire to be great, a feeling that they will be great, an ambition to be great, a suspicion that they will be great, an awareness that they will be great, an assurance that they will be great. If there are some great people in the house, let me hear a shout. Yes, I like great people. Charlie, you know when you are broke and you say I'll be great, it's very nice. Because it sounds funny. But guess what? One day you will be great. And when you are great, you remember that you said it when you were broke. Somebody say that's me. So, deliberate simply means that at a time of great deficit, begin to put in place some building blocks that may not make sense then or now, but some time to come, when the full picture unfolds, you will understand. Why do I recommend this book? For the simple reason that if we look at our backgrounds, Comfort and I, we shouldn't be where we are in life. We shouldn't have reached where we have reached. But some significant ladders helped us get here. And those ladders have been mentioned by Comfort and Gina and explained in great detail. But the most important thing is that they are so generic that somebody listening today can also take the same ladders and project yourself from where you are to where you want to be. I am growing. I'm no longer as young as many of you here. So to provide that balance and to contextualize the reality of snakes and ladders, I'm going to call my two of my sons to get onto the stage and then use the past 1 year of their lives to bring you the reality of snakes and ladders at your age. Jojo and Oreku, come up. Put your hands together for my sons. I have 3 sons. Let me bring 2 of them up. Run, guys, run. All right. So what I'm going to do is, both of them are doing national service. One with Deloitte, working as a consultant, and one pursuing the passion of his life as a sports journalist with Joy 99.7 FM and the multimedia group. So these 2, my 2 sons will take a seat here, and I'm going to work them through their lives over the past few months, try and find out what ladders they have encountered and what snakes they have encountered, and just listen carefully. They are ordinary guys just like you. They're not celebrities, don't mind them. But the good news is that they are in the age bracket that most of you find yourselves in, doing national service, post-university. All right, so Jojo, let's start with you. You are older, so let's start with you. So you are in Deloitte, and in a meeting at Labadi Beach 2 nights ago, I introduced him as my younger brother, the consultant, and many of the CEOs believed it until I told them he was my son. But they believed it because he was working with consulting teams, and nobody would say he was national service. So let me find out from you, what is it that has been a game changer for you in your work as a national service person that has enabled you to actually head a project even at this stage in your career?
I would say the 2 biggest things are being hungry, like wanting to succeed, and number 2, not looking down on any assignments. Like, do everything you get the chance to do. Volunteer for as much as you can.
So you go to do national service, and you say you are hungry, and not food. The hunger is not food hunger. And then 2, you say you volunteer for all kinds of things. If you can break that down a bit for me, I'll be grateful.
So in my office, there are 3 national service personnel, and sometimes because of the way national service works, there's not always work that is pre-made for you to do. You kind of have to seek out your own work. So sometimes my colleagues sit there and they're on like Facebook and stuff, and sometimes you're tired, you want to do that as well. But if you really want to succeed, you have to go out and make your own work. You have to go and ask the full-timers, hey, are you busy? Is there anything I can help you with? Questions like that. That's how you get work to do, and that's how you get ahead.
All right. Have you sometimes felt that you are putting in too much because national service revenue is often so little?
One of the most important things that I've heard recently is that when you are working for someone else, you are in a sense working for yourself, because you are building the brand that people will identify with you once you leave. So people take it as this: the work that he does or she does as a national service personnel is the same work that they are going to do once they leave and once they go out into the world on their own. So if you don't look at it as working for someone else on national service, but working for yourself and building your brand, it's never too much work. You are working for yourself.
Wonderful. I'm going to come back to you and ask you about assets you've leveraged, and then also about the snakes. Let me come to Jojo, Oreku. So Oreku, let me find out from you. You are hosting shows on prime time on DSTV and so on at your age. Now, what was the game changer for you? You went into multimedia and Joy FM, not even assured as a journalist, but within how many months? How many months have you been there?
About 6, 7.
6-7 months, and you're already hosting a show on DSTV and so on. What was the first day like? First day you were thrown into the... What happened when you got there, and what was the game changer for you?
Hi, everyone. So I have to start by giving some context, and that's the fact that I did computer science in university for 4 years. So to all my computer science guys, yeah, I see you. I know it's hard, but you finish. But yeah, I always loved football, even when I was doing my computer science, and I would always try and go to Joy FM, and try and contribute. As what Georgina was saying, I go there, do some work that I don't even get paid for, but it was a passion, so I could do it for free, and that landed me in my national service opportunity. Now, on my first day when I got there, I was a little bit lost, and that was because I probably don't have any training in journalism, and because of the free work that I had been doing, I got the opportunity to start a new show. And on the first day after I finished the show, I saw the boss of TV come down, the head of programs, and all the big guys at multimedia stand there looking at your face. I'm like, what just went on? And they give you 99 reasons as to why what you did today was wrong. And I'm like, wow, am I really made for this? So I go back and I talk to some friends that I have there. Most of the journalists there right now are my friends, and I'm like, this is what they said. I'm really scared. I don't even know what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. And it was that support system that said that you need to take your time, work on yourself, develop yourself. So I took these advice, and there were times that late at night I would go and stand in front of a mirror, introduce myself. Today on my show we'll be doing this, doing that, and yeah. So I kept on working hard, and today when I do my show, I don't have the head of TV coming down. So I think I'm doing it right.
Obviously doing something right. Let me cut it short and come to you and talk about snakes, because we can't talk about ladders alone without talking about snakes. Are there times when you have looked back at something you did and you're like, oh no, I could have done this differently, and it almost cost me, or it actually cost you, and it could have been terrible if you were not lucky?
So there was this one time, it was late in the afternoon, so man is already tired, and I was working on a project for my partner, and I was very intensely into it. And a gentleman who none of us had ever seen had come into the office and called the national service personnel over. So one of us went over and he said, no, not you, call the other two. So we both went over and he said, hi, can you go and staple this for me? And so I passed it to one of my colleagues because I wanted to finish the work on time, and he was like, oh no, I wanted you to do it. So I said, no problem. I went and did it, came back, and I was like, is this how you would like it? He was like, actually, could you do it in a different way? So I went back, made sure it was exactly the way he wanted it, and came back and apologized because I wanted to make sure he understood that it wasn't me not wanting to do the assignment. It was wanting to finish the deadline, but I could have communicated that better. It ended up being that he wanted to see how I worked because he was scheduled to go on a project with me and he was a contractor. So if I had been rude in that moment and said, "Na you cry, my busy," it would have actually worked against me in the long run. So.
Wonderful. Miles, you are in UMB, high profile banking setup. This, what he just described, somebody about to go on an assignment with you and testing you, is it a normal thing in management practice?
It is. And sometimes the best way to know anyone is to use a variety of scenarios. So I'll always advise that no matter what, and that's why I loved what you said, because you know you're working within a timeline, but even if you're assigned something on the spur of the moment, do it to the best of your ability. You don't know who is watching.
Final comment from Oreku. Oreku, has there been a snake in your 7-month media journey?
Yeah, I think when I got my first ever show at the end of October, and back in Ashesi University, my friends used to refer to me as the guy who always wants to overdo things. And hey, why? When I mentioned Ashesi, I'm hearing some.
Just go ahead.
Okay, so a lot of my mates used to refer to me as the guy who always wants to overdo things. If you're supposed to type this, I would always make sure it's looking nice, add some designs. And so I had a lot of attention to detail, and I wanted things to be always done to the max. And so when I got my first show, the guy who was supposed to be my producer, he was producing, I think, 2 other sports shows. And because my show is at 5 p.m., usually when it gets to that time, he comes to work around 4 a.m. So there's a little bit of fatigue, and he's a little bit laid back in his approach. So that was affecting the quality of work being put out there. And of course, with all this pressure coming, because you have to deliver on the show, I decided to take up things upon myself and started producing myself, which wasn't right, because I ended up cutting him out of the team without him even knowing. So it was a little bit, weird, and there was some tension within the team, and which I realized that it wasn't good going forward. And if I probably continued, it would have been bad in terms of, showing my teamwork skills. Eventually, we settled our differences, and we realized that if you are tired, what I can do is that I can help you the day before. We can sit and plan, discuss the angle we want to go. So I help you help me, and together we try and put the show together.
Wonderful. So you talked about tensions arising because you cross into somebody's space. Petra, you've been in management in different industries. How important is this issue of spaces, boundaries, and then the tensions that arise as a result of crossover?
It's interesting you asked that, because on our way here, I spent a lot of time with Georgina, and we're talking about the interface between corporate communications and marketing. And the reason for my questioning with her was just to understand how the two play together. And one of the things I learned from that conversation was the fact that you need to be aligned. Everybody needs to be aligned in the team. And you need to recognize the importance of the different players within the organization. So you don't ever go into situations thinking that I am the all in all and it's my word and that's it. And so that's one of the key things. And when he was talking about how to manage the relationship in his team, that just hit me. Because you really have to be conscious that everyone is important and they're all divergent interests. And how do you bring all of that together to ensure that we're achieving the same goal?
All right, guys, let me release you. Put your hands together for Jojo and Oreku for contributing to this one. Thank you, guys. All right, so you get some perspective about the reality of snakes and the reality of ladders. And so let me close by giving you five snakes to avoid and 5 ladders that you will by all means need to find. And I hope you find these helpful, especially in the context of what my partners in this presentation have shared with us. So let's go to the snakes to avoid. I've chosen these snakes bearing in mind the audience that we have today, because I want to speak from my heart about the issues that will help you rise based on the errors I see made by people in this age bracket, predominantly emerging leaders, graduates, and predominantly students in the tertiary level here in Cape Coast. All right, so the first snake is elevating form above substance. The first snake you must avoid is the tendency to elevate form above substance. It has become very common to see people assume that when you wear a nice suit and take a picture and put it on Facebook, then you are an achiever. That is elevating form above substance. So people go to a function and their biggest priority is not the lessons they learned from Springboard about positioning for the future, but how many celebrities they took personal pictures with and possibly got their numbers. While that is beautiful and it can be a networking opportunity, how can you prioritize the picture above the lesson? One of the shocking days was speaking at the graduation of the University of Ghana, Legon. And I remember that just before I was introduced, the Vice Chancellor had just come from a conference where the World Economic Forum report on the future of jobs was the main discussion. And so he said, before you listen to this man, let me read you what the World Economic Forum is saying about the future of jobs, so you will take his presentation very seriously. Now, when he started reading the 10 things that the World Economic Forum said you will need after the year 2020, a person about to speak put my presentation aside, and I was writing down the 10 things and eyeing his speech to grab it from him when he sits down. But when I raised my head to look at the audience, I managed to locate a number of people who were adjusting their kapi and taking selfie. That is form above substance. The form of the graduation, the kapi and the picture are more important than the lesson about how this degree can position you for the next 10 years. Snake number 1 is form above substance. Snake number 2 is laziness. It's not a very nice word to use, but it is so important that I use this word because it is very painful to sit in a meeting with top executives and they are freely discussing the young executives in the firm and who has a future and who has no future in the company. And it's painful because the person that they are discussing is totally oblivious to the fact that they have no future. In fact, they believe that they are good. One of the most dangerous things in life is to believe that you are good when the whole world sees you as not being good. It's very dangerous because you can actually take a reference request to somebody and think that the person is so impressed with your work, and the person being who they are will give a very honest reference about you. I once asked the person asking for a reference, must it be me giving this reference because I have to speak the truth? At that point, you need to make a judgment because I will be very honest in this reference, and if you are lazy and not serious, not committed, you don't manage details well, you don't finish anything given to you, I have to say it. If not, find somebody else who will say the nice things, even if they don't believe in it. So laziness is a big issue, and it is evidenced by the fact that many emerging leaders get opportunity in a firm and come to work after the CEO. Mark my words. A joke is made about one of the previous governors of the central bank that he was so punctual that it embarrassed everyone from deputy governor to the cleaner. And this testimony was given by the deputy governor at the time, who said he was noted to be the one who comes to work early at 7:30. And when the new governor was appointed, he came at 7:30 and the governor was there. The next day he came at 7 o'clock just to put the governor where he belongs, and the governor was there. In fact, at that point he was getting very frustrated. So the next day he said he will put in a super effort to deal with the governor. He came at 6:30 and guess what? The governor was there. At that point he gave up. But imagine the governor having cleared maybe 1.5 hours of work from 6:30 to 8 and deciding at 9 o'clock to walk through the office complex, and then he meets this national service or first year of employment person walking in late and walking casually as if nothing is at stake, and maybe even had earphones in their ears. Listen, some things are there even with your first class. This one, it brings you to the back of the queue. May the Lord deliver you from that. Laziness, snake number 2. Snake number 3 is even more dangerous. It's a gambling spirit. Is it a big snake? Is it a big snake? You know, the thing about the gambling spirit is that it's so deceptive. I hear this one is a black mamba. The gambling spirit is so deceptive that it justifies itself. So you say, oh, this one is just sports betting. It has a lot of nice names, but it's evidenced by a get-rich-quick scheme that has become so prevalent and dominant that just yesterday, a university in the Bronga-Hafo region has taken an official policy to clamp down on betting on the campus because students are not learning their betting, spending their whole day in sports betting shops. There was a report a month ago that in a particular institution, a number of students had used their school fees to go and bet. The gambling spirit is a snake because it's not just about betting. It's about the fact that if there is a right way to do something that involves effort and a shortcut to do it that is fraudulent, believe me, I will not even try to ask how many If they got exam questions, Apo, well, look, I won't ask because I saw Dr. Otabo ask that question at the National Theatre, and the answer he got, I was embarrassed. So many people lifted up their hands and said, we will cheat. Openly. Some of them, their lecturers were sitting with them. They didn't even care. The gambling spirit wants to get the result, but is not interested in the effort. The fourth snake is the snake of arrogance. Somebody said to me, why is it that you, a top executive, will stop and greet the cleaner, ask them about their children, interact with them, remember their name when you see them next time, and yet the younger ones rather don't greet? This was somebody bitterly complaining that why is it that young managers don't want to greet? I want to challenge our young emerging leaders that, as Gina rightly said in her presentation earlier, respect is an asset in life. Let people see you going and say, oh, who was that? And they say, oh, that is this person. They say, what? You don't mean it. And they were so nice, so accommodating, so respectful, and so humble. Rather than you come with all your shoulders up and they say, and who too is that? I remember a particular experience where in a forum that we had gone for, Comfort and I, in a global leadership forum, somebody was talking plenty about the achievements. And sometimes people are quiet. Be careful. Because when they finished, later, they found out that somebody who was wearing their shorts and t-shirts in the meeting who was quiet, the accomplishment is about 10,000 times what we were talking about, and they didn't even speak. Pride, conceitedness, arrogance can destroy your career. You can be rude to somebody, and for 10 years you're trying to repair the damage, and it just won't repair itself. The final snake I'm going to use for this presentation is the snake of disconnection. Disconnection is simply being disconnected from reality. There is a reality that governs everything in this world, my friends. There is a reality that governs leadership. There is a reality that governs faith. There is a reality that governs investment. And there is a reality that governs hierarchy. The world is hierarchical. You must get there. If you are not there, be patient. So you cannot disconnect yourself from the realities of the place where you are and hope to rise. I was listening to a presentation by Professor Bill Popolampo of Central University, and he was talking about you cannot ignore the politics of your workplace because that is your reality. And it sounded like something derogatory. When we say the politics of your workplace, it means that there are the rules that govern that place, both the formal and informal rules. If you don't know how it works, you can cross a boundary and all your efforts in 10 years can be destroyed by the snake of disconnection. Of course, how can I end on disconnection without talking about being disconnected from God? I believe with all my heart that the wisdom, the strength, and the power to become great, it comes from God. So no matter how much you achieve in life, always honor God and appreciate His grace. Can I say amen? Let me give you 5 ladders to close. And when you get the book, take time to read in detail about these ladders. And these are not all that are captured in the book. The first ladder I would like to share is the ladder of the counselor or constructive critic. When you are rising as an emerging leader, there will be somebody in your life who the most compliment they'll give you is not bad. And don't be offended. That is why God put them in your life. They are not supposed to tell you, hey, you were remarkable, you were exceptional. No. That's not their job. It is that person who is not impressed by your job or your general manager post. And God puts people like that in your life who hold you accountable to the highest standards. If they drop you, you will fall. So people like that, it's like Moses. He was a don. Moses in the Bible was the leader. He had 2 million people following him. And he was so important that all 2 million, when they had legal cases, he would judge from morning to evening and they would queue. How important, how powerful. Until his father-in-law comes one day and says, this thing they are doing, it is not good. If he was somebody, we say, how dare you come and criticize me? How many people are following you on Facebook? How many people are following you on Twitter? I have 2 million followers. Jethro said, the thing that you are doing, it is not good. Then he sat him down and unpacked the law of delegation. The first lesson in delegation of authority. And after that, Moses' life was much better because a counselor and a constructive critic showed him the way. That is one ladder you must have. The second ladder you need is a destiny connector. It is a powerful one. Listen, if you are like me and you are the person who sent that question earlier on that your background is hard, I agree. You are talking for many of us in front here. The back is hard. But in the course of our lives, God sent destiny connectors our way. And I can imagine somebody saying, in that case, I claim a destiny connector in the name of Jesus. Somebody say amen. I know. But the problem, my friends, is that that destiny connector does not come wearing uniform. So it is so possible to ignore them because you will not even know that that's the person that God has sent to help you. It may just be a friend. It may be a subordinate. It may just be an ordinary person sitting near a king, a president, a CEO who says, I know somebody perfect for this job. A destiny connector can be the one with authority and can also be the one who speaks into the ear of the one in authority. Somebody cracked a joke about the inauguration of President Nkrumah. And the person said, just before the inauguration, a young man walked up to the president, Ghana's first president, and whispered in his ears something. And the president did this. Nodded his head. Just that nod. People said this man is powerful. If you want the ear of the president, that's the man. All I'm saying is that sometimes a person close to authority, like David's recommendation, came from somebody who said, I know the perfect person for this job. When Saul was looking for somebody. Likewise, Joseph. The butler says, 2 years ago, I met somebody with the exact kind of expertise you are looking for. Now, this destiny connector sometimes is somebody who met you when they were in need. And you helped them. You helped them for free. You coached them. You supported them. And you left it thinking it was a waste. But years later, that good action will come back and open doors for you. May God help you to find a destiny connector. The third ladder you will need is a confirmer. Everyone has an idea what they want to do in their lives, but sometimes we are not too sure. So you know what you want to be, or you have an idea, but you are in doubt. Sometimes somebody comes along and says, you know what, Charlie, you have it. Go all out. Do it. You do it and it becomes so powerful. And in the course of my life, and I'm sure I speak for comfort as well, we've had several confirmers, and not all of them were very accomplished people. I always refer to one of them that nobody knows, so that you will not think that your confirmer must be somebody very accomplished. I have several accomplished confirmers. But one of them was this medical doctor who said, Albert, do you know you speak very well? Could you possibly be somebody who will be speaking as your career? At that time, I was thinking, hey, degree in economics, I'm about to do an MBA. That's my future. He says, buy these materials, these books and these tapes from accomplished speakers and just listen and listen and listen. At that time, it cost me $150. I thought I was crazy. I paid in installments for a long time before I finished paying. But because I paid so much, I listened and listened and imbibed the material. And 15 years later, look at where I am. confirmer just confirms what you already know and assures you that you're on the right track. The fourth snake is very dear to my heart. The fourth ladder. It means you are listening. I like that. The fourth ladder is very dear to my heart, and that is the burden bearer. Many times you look at the big people who help you to become big, the great people who open a door for you, and you want their number and their Facebook contact and all those things. But in golf, every golfer has somebody they call the caddy. And people have lost golf tournaments because they change their caddy. The caddy carries your bag. The caddy reads your mood and can tell you, this part, calm down. And they guide you. They are not your coach. They are like your support person carrying your bag, your armor bearer. But they are wonderful people because without them, you could get it so wrong. So, the caddy may not be as accomplished as you, the golfer, but he's the one who carries the bag so you can play. For the most accomplished people in this world, you hail the person standing on the stage, but behind them is somebody who does the research or does the errands, does the organization, and they may never get celebrated. But these are the burden bearers. You withdraw them and then suddenly the person just collapses. And that's the reality of life. So if you don't mind, if you will find it in your hearts, while I am at this so important point, allow me 15 seconds to celebrate a burden bearer in our lives. A man who will always be in the background, but who's so critical to what we do. And for years has literally sold out his whole vision. He came to us building a business with his own vision, and he sold the whole vision to follow us, and has followed us for years, just bearing the burden. Friends, help me celebrate Matthew Prepra Boating. Matthew, where are you? Where is Matthew? Somebody pull him out, whether he's in the garage, wherever he is, find him and bring him. I guess right. Outside organizing things. Somebody pull him all the way outside and bring him back into the hall. I will not continue till he arrives, because some people are sent by God. They may not have great titles, but believe me, you will need somebody like this carrying his bag every time. Matthew, come all the way to the front. Come with your bag. It's okay. You're always carrying it. Come. Come on. I want a standing ovation for this man. May God give you a burden bearer. Somebody who will guide you, help you, selflessly work for you, support you, do the research for you. Matthew, I choose this very august forum to say thank you. I celebrate you. I honor you. Come forth. Why don't you join me? I know he's embarrassed by this, but this is the best way to celebrate a person who has given all their life for you. And I pray that God will give you somebody who would also help you, because you will need it. Matthew, thank you. Thank you so much. All right. So the burden bearer may not be famous, but believe me, without them, you can't rise beyond some point. The final ladder I'll share with you is a role model or a mentor. Why do you need a role model and a mentor? Because the journey you are traveling, somebody traveled it way ahead of you. And they know everything. I've read the story of Quincy Jones and Michael Jackson so many times. And people have said over and over again that one of Jackson's brothers was a better singer than him. But you see, it is not of him that willeth or him that runneth, but it is God who shows mercy, because on the day that it mattered most, there was some drama about a scarecrow, and Michael Jackson was acting in that musical drama. And Quincy Jones pointed at him, and that's it. Lifted him up and he went on to win 8 Grammy Awards in one night. May you find a role model or a mentor to guide you. And for those who say, I want a mentor and they are so difficult to reach, I deliberately use this picture of somebody who has grabbed the book of their role model. They say, if I cannot find you, I will talk to you through your book. They've read the book 10 times, they've marked it, they've highlighted it, they've colored it yellow, colored it green, colored it red. They will read the book until the book gets torn. One day, you will meet that person, and when you open your mouth, they will say, you even talk like me, because you have read it and imbibed it. Listen, if the mentor won't bring themselves, get their material and read it day and night, and you will imbibe their wisdom without the effort. Let me conclude by celebrating all the earlier speakers and say that in tying up the thoughts shared by Gina, Comfort, the interventions by Petra, and myself, we chose the theme, the digital revolution, because no matter what you do, whether it's entertainment, church, business, banking, telecoms, investment, if you understand digitization as an enabler, you can reach more people, you can reach them easily, you can sit in the comfort of your home and make money and create wealth. You can put your talent in the virtual space and within minutes reach people all over the world. That young man who drew me, I just posted it on Facebook, and the testimonies and the recommendations that are flowing from people just because he's been put on a page that has 150,000 followers. It could just be the game changer for his career. Even if he doesn't win, the whole world has heard about him. So, my concluding thoughts are that digitization is a blessing, but don't make it a curse for you. I pray that 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, as has become the custom today, wherever we go, whichever industry, whichever space, we will meet people telling us, we heard you in Cape Coast, or we heard you at Springboard in 2019, and see who we have become. See what the Lord has done. Congratulations for coming to Springboard, and may the Lord bless us all. Amen.
game.